Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby and today we're taking a look at the Yakima OffGrid roof-mounted cargo basket here on our 2020 Ford Edge. So this is going to be an excellent way of getting a little bit more of that cargo space inside of your Ford Edge, really freeing it up. That way if you guys have any of those, weekend trips, long summer trips, anything like that, really start making it easier to go ahead and actually sit inside your car without feeling cramped. It becomes a great way of just keeping maybe some of your sports accessories outside of your vehicle. I know a lot of us probably have some kiddos starting to get in football and baseball, all those things, right? Generating all that stinky clothes. We can go ahead, put those gym bags up on here, keep them from being inside of our vehicle. Whatever need we have, right? The OffGrid's going to let us carry it. With 165 pounds of weight capacity, we're going to have no trouble, I don't think, throwing up almost anything on this roof, whether it be water, whatever, right? Jugs of anything. Really, the world's going to be our oyster with this guy, which is great. You are getting a lot of great contact points here to Yakima, always known for their style when they are designing their things. So I think it looks pretty sporty, looks pretty cool, looks like it's ready to hit the train as well, which is excellent. You are also going to have the ability to go ahead and actually extend this out, which is great here on the edge. We definitely are going to have the room for that, and I'll kind of give you guys a shout out later of how to find that. But it's really, really nice that we have the capability of adding on, but it also doesn't look too bad here, I think, on our edge. It's not too bulky, not too big. Definitely going to be just a great little system to go ahead and start securing all of our things. I like all these contact points as well. Makes it really easy to run those cam buckles or ratchet straps, anything to go ahead and start securing all of our cargo. That way it stays nice and secure. And there's just a lot to talk about this guy. We also have some nice little accessory bars here at the top, which are great. These guys become excellent to start throwing some other accessories on here. So things like a roof-mounted bike carrier could be an option still with this. The only thing I'll say with the Edge though, and utilizing those accessory bars, is we're already adding a lot of height here, especially if you guys have the naked roofs like we do here today. Gonna need that fit kit, and it just kind of adds a little bit more height than you might be used to from like a raised rail system. So that's one thing I would keep in mind. Those accessory bars, nice that we have the option. Might be a little hard to utilize here on the Edge, but they're not just for accessories. We can go ahead, shift them over, and utilize it to start compartmentalizing our roof basket as well, which is really cool. So we are having that fairing, which does a great job of cutting down a little bit on that wind drag, right? It is easily taken off too. We just have all these plastic clips going around it. What's nice, we don't need a tool. We can pop that off if we need to for some of our longer items, and we can use that in conjunction with our open end here on the back of the OffGrid. This becomes excellent if you have any kind of lumber that just needs a little bit extra room, right? Stand-up paddle boards, anything of that nature that's just a little bit too long for our grid, we can go ahead and actually stick it out and still carry it, which is really, really nice. So I do like that open end. We also are gonna have a black powder coat finish here on this steel construction, which is great. Now I will say, this guy's been down here in the shop. You're starting to see a little bit of orange marks all around, and that's from just a little bit of rust being on the inside of it. It's something that's gonna happen. And one thing I'll say with any black powder coat, as long as we're treating it a little bit better, it'll start lasting us a little longer. So what I mean by that? Well, the black powder coat finish is great. It does a great job and it looks really good, but it is susceptible to scratching and damage. So when you're throwing up your gear, just try to be a little more careful with it. Of course, we don't always have to be the softest of touches, but if you do have any kind of metal or anything that's going to make that metal on metal contact, that's just something I'd watch. Of course, our bags and other things of that nature, probably not going to be the biggest of deals. Well, this guy is really awesome. I think it looks really good. And one thing I really like about it too, doesn't really take that much time to install. So the biggest thing is going to be assembly outside of the box. But once you have that all done, let's go ahead and see how we can get it on here. Well, it really doesn't take any time to get this set up. What you want to do, simply, of course, assemble your grid. It doesn't take too much longer. You have a few little bolts here. But once you actually have it all set up, we're simply going to set it on top of our roof, being a little careful to avoid damaging either the underside of our carrier here and, of course, our roof rack that we're setting it on. It can be helpful instead of skating it across these tops if you kind of walk it. That way you're not scratching your black powder coat on either your carrier or your rack. But once you have it set up where you want it to be, we're going to have these foot pads that we need to actually position. So I've already gone ahead and thrown on my other three. And to get this guy latched in, let's go ahead and start taking a closer look. So we have our foot pads here, and we also have our rubber coated metal stripping. This strip is simply going to go on the underneath of your crossbar systems, and then we just bring it around. Of course, our foot pad is set on top of our bar. On the top here, you're gonna have this little channel and you kind of see where that wants to sit in. And then we simply wanna push this guy up. If you're getting this much resistance, that's not terrible, but you can back this off a little bit if you need to, simply by rotating this a little bit, just to give ourselves a little bit of slack. Nothing too crazy, so we still want it nice and tight, right? Like it's not going anywhere. And again, that threading there can be used to tighten or untighten your stripping. Just bring that latch down though, bring your pad in, and you're nice and installed. The only other action at this point would be go ahead and change these out for some metal locking cores. Well, now that we have it installed, let's go ahead and see how it's interacting here on the roof of our vehicle. So from the very front here where our fairing is going to be getting us a little loss to our space. That's going to put you at 39 inches of usable inside space. Now, of course, you do have a little bit more of that on the underside here, but of course, not going to be able to use that with your bigger, bulkier items. So that's kind of why we give you that measurement. And then for our internal width here, that's going to be putting us right at 38 inches from side to side there for yourself. And for the depth that we're getting here for our cargo to sit in, that's going to be putting you right at about 5 inches there of max depth. So definitely a pretty sizable amount for our cargo. And again, with these accessory bars, it becomes really easy to start managing all of our cargo space. And I really like how many tie-off points I have. Definitely going to be easy to run our cam buckles or ratchet straps and make sure that everything's nice and secure. So our roof rack systems for the edge here already kind of a little high, and I wanted to take a look here. Now we are on our own roof rack system, so you guys can probably use your own system at home, but it looks like from the top of my roof rack to the very top of my accessory bar, that's put me at 6.5 inches of extension. So definitely keep that in mind with your roof rack system at home. That way we're not running into the garage or any of those pesky drive-throughs. Well, after taking a look at that install and seeing how it's sitting on the top of our car, definitely do like how it's sitting here on the edge. Again, my only thing with the edge here, we already have really tall roof racks. I think a lot of us are going to be dealing with that issue out there, but that's just something we kind of have to work with, right? I like that the off-grid's not adding too much height here. And like I said too, if we wanted, we actually have the ability to add an extension on here, which is great. And one thing I do like about this height, here in the back, our fin does kind of sit a little taller, but even if our grid was all the way pushed back here, we're going to have an A-OK time clearing that fin, which is excellent. We don't have to move any kind of antennas or anything. It actually is pretty set up with that nice clearance level, which is always a nice little kind of benefit of having it so tall. The only thing I'd say to watch out for, though, if you are doing a little bit of overlanding and you're having a lot of trees kind of hitting the side, and that's just something we're going to have to kind of deal with because of our roof rack systems. Overall, I think the off-grid is just an excellent way of getting that cargo out of your car and making it a lot easier to have those long road trips without feeling so cramped. Again, those accessory bars make it really awesome to go ahead and have the ability to throw in other accessories as well, and we're not just limited to our roof basket. But otherwise, guys, I think that about does it for our look here today at the Yakima OffGrid roof-mounted cargo basket here on our 2020 Ford Edge. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.